and welcome to another video. I'm going to be documenting a fast. I'm having a bit of just kind of digestive issues, some bloating and things that I kind of want to get to the bottom of. And a really great way to just kind of reset your digestive system is to give it a rest. So I am going to be doing water only for a minimum of 24 hours. So I want to say I ate dinner around 7 o'clock or so last night. So, a 24-hour fast would be making it to 7 o'clock tonight, but I think I actually want to extend that and at a minimum make it to tomorrow morning when I would normally have breakfast on a Monday morning. So we'll see if I can actually go longer than that. I think about 30 hours is my longest fast to date, but I haven't done one in quite a while. So I want to do this to just kind of reset my digestive system. There are also a ton of health benefits that come from fasting. One of the big benefits that comes from fasting is just mentally and kind of resetting your natural hunger cues. So often we eat because we're bored, we eat because the clock says it's a certain time, we eat because other people are eating, or we just see something and it sounds good and so we decided to put it in our mouth. We're not actually hungry. So when you really take yourself to the point of actual hunger and really feeling what that hunger pain actually feels like in your stomach, it resets that natural hunger cue. So then when you go back to eating, you have a much better perception, a better kind of calibration of what hunger actually feels like. And you can start to kind of parse that out between, am I hungry because I'm bored? Am I actually hungry? Or am I just thinking about food? Am I craving something? Do I just want something to do with my mouth? Maybe I'm just thirsty. And it's also much better for your body to go longer periods of time in between meals than to be just constantly grazing on things. So hang out with me while I do this fast. We'll see how long I can make it. Can I make it to 48 hours? We will see. So that would be, it's Sunday morning. So that would be Tuesday night? 24 would be to Sunday night. So Monday night. So if I made it to 7 o'clock on Monday night, that would be 48 hours, which would be by far the longest fast I've ever done. So we'll see how that goes. I'll see if I feel any kind of tummy bloat changes as well. So it's 10:50 a.m., about 2 hours almost after I first spoke to you, and I'm starting to feel hungry. This is around the normal time of day that I would have that I would break my fast. But I'm not going to right now. So I'm just gonna drink some more water and continue on with what I'm doing, continue on with my day. I'm launching a challenge tomorrow, commit 30 for the first time. It'll be a repeated thing, but tomorrow is the first ever launch of it. So I'm gonna get to some work on that. So hopefully I'll be able to just kind of keep my mind busy, keep drinking water, and be able to push through the initial signs of hunger. So it's like an hour later, 58 minutes later actually, and if I think about my stomach, it's a little bit hungry, but I've been drinking some bubbly water or sparkling water in addition to my regular water, which just kind of helps you feel a little bit more full. But mostly I just keep thinking about food, which is interesting. So I'm trying to just focus on what I'm doing. I'm working on my 30-day challenge right now. So I'm really just trying to focus on that, but it's interesting just how often I think about food, and I'm not super hungry. My stomach feels kind of empty, but it's not like a real deep hunger or anything like that. So it's just interesting to see how often you actually think about food. So something I definitely did not expect to do today while fasting was to move in the heat. So it's 110 plus degrees, and my mom called me and said, hey, we want to move some stuff into the new storage unit. Can you help us? We're going to call your sister too. So my parents are selling their house and moving in with me. I have a 4-bedroom house, way more space. My sister and her husband are buying my parents' house. So we just have all this musical chairs situation happening. So we have a lot of stuff that we need to sell, organize, donate, get rid of, and put into storage. So it's just, we're in this middle of a heat wave right now. So it's not getting any cooler. It's actually supposed to warm up in the next couple days. So I just spent 2 to 3 hours moving in the extreme heat with my family. But, I'm actually feeling fine. So just keep pounding water, chewing on ice helps kind of keep my mouth busy a little bit. And yeah, it's food-wise, I'm feeling fine. Talking about it, I've got my stomach is a little bit like, ooh, hey, I'm empty, but otherwise I'm fine. So definitely keeping busy is helping. I'm hopefully just chilling for a while. I actually have church at 7 o'clock this evening. It's gonna be super hot for that as well. So I guess the only thing that I will have somewhat breaking my fast, I suppose, is like a thimbleful of grape juice and a tiny little piece of gluten-free bread. But it is the Lord's Supper, and I'm not worried about that as far as my fast goes. So going strong. Okay, so it is 9:40. So I've over 24 hours. So I'm at like 26, almost 27-ish hours or so fasted. So I'm lying in bed reading before I go to sleep, and my stomach is like rumbling. So I just like chewed up a bunch of ice and everything. So I feel like I can like feel just water basically moving through my stomach and kind of gurgling. So normal circumstances, I would feel like I wanted to eat something before I went to bed, but I'm gonna let it ride, see how long I can make it tomorrow without eating. So hopefully I'll be able to, like this feeling will pass and I'll just be able to go to sleep with no problem. Check in with you in the morning. All right, so it's the morning of, Monday morning. It's just after 7 a.m., so I am right around 36 hours fasted, and I'm about to go for a run, as you can see by my attire. My dog is ready for his walk. So I just stepped on the scale, and on Sunday morning, I was 128.8, and I just weighed in at 125.8, I think it was. Now, that is not body fat. I did not lose 3 pounds of body fat in 2 days. Saturday morning to Monday morning, that's like 3 pounds or 2.5 pounds or whatever it was. That is water weight. Maybe a little bit of fat, but it is mostly water weight because glycogen, which is the glucose stored as energy in our muscles, it holds water. And I have probably depleted my glycogen stores at this point, and the water that goes with it. Also, I haven't eaten anything, so I really don't have any sodium in my system. So that also holds water. So it is very much likely that it is mostly water weight that accounts for that weight loss. So I do feel like my stomach feels flatter, you know. I feel more, thin right now. And so I think some of the bloating, basically the reason for doing this was just my stomach has not been feeling great. And so I talked to you while I put my socks and shoes on. So yeah, the reason that I did this fast in the first place was because I've been having just upset GI kind of thing. And so I think that the flatter stomach, yes, water weight, but also just letting my digestive system rest. Excuse me, sir. He's ready for his close-up. He's ready for his walk. So anyway, so I don't know if I told you the reason that I think that my GI system has been kind of messed up. So 2 kind of confounding variables. In the last couple of months, I have both started doing protein supplements, like protein shakes, more frequently, which I haven't done on a regular basis in probably a few years. I mostly try to get my protein from whole food sources. And so it's been really rare the last few years that I've done a protein shake, where I was doing them like 1 to 2 a day for a while. And that was before I'd made a lot of dietary changes, and I was just less kind of in tune with my body. And, it was back when I just kind of accepted bloat and GI distress as like normal. Just because something is common does not make it normal. It is not normal to be bloated all the time. So also I had really bad reflux at that time, and dietary changes, lifestyle changes has alleviated that. Yeah, so the increase in protein, and I've been doing whey protein. And so that's why I think I am lactose intolerant. You can also be allergic to casein, which is the protein in milk. So it could be the whey protein. So one way that I could kind of differentiate that would be to start taking a plant-based protein powder and see if that has an effect. The other thing I've been doing is I purposely increase my carbohydrates. I was eating like probably 50 to 75 carbs a day, occasionally going over that if I, like had, like a cheat meal, if I had some sort of treat, whether it would be pizza or ice cream or something like that. But for the most part, definitely under 100 grams of carbs per day. And now I'm aiming for around like 120 carbs a day, which still isn't a lot, but it's a lot more than I have had. And I've definitely seen the benefit of that in helping to decrease my anxiety. So carbohydrates help to shut off cortisol. So I've been timing my carbohydrates to, like, after a workout, have some carbohydrates. So I've caused a stressor in my workout. And so then I have carbohydrates post workout to help shut down that cortisol, that stress hormone. And then also later in the evening, so if, like, for dinner, I'll have some carbohydrates. So again, blunting that cortisol later in the evening when I'm ready to go to bed. Not at bedtime, but, for later in the evening at dinner. So I've been eating things like sourdough bread. Now I'm going with like a quality sourdough, and the microbes or whatever in the sourdough, because it's kind of fermented, helps to break down some of the gluten in there. So if you are like intolerant to gluten, you're less sensitive to sourdough bread typically. None of you have celiac. If you have celiac, obviously no, but I don't have celiac, but I definitely do respond or react to gluten. So what I'm going to do is when I go back to eating, I'm going to stick with the sourdough for now and just eliminate the protein. Oh my goodness. And see if that makes a difference. If I start having symptoms again, then I'll eliminate the sourdough and see if the symptoms go away. And then I'll bring in some plant-based protein so I can kind of do like an elimination diet and experiment with how things are going. So I wasn't feeling any hunger until I just started talking about food just now. So, but it just feels, I don't feel like I haven't eaten for 36 hours. It just feels like just kind of a normal level of hunger, which is, kind of cool. Yeah, I'm going to try to make it at least until dinner tonight, if not breakfast tomorrow. And then of course, when you do break a fast, particularly, one longer than like 12 hours, you want to do it kind of gently. Not with a huge meal, not with like a super high fat or super high carbohydrate or high volume meal. So just like a nice balanced meal. So I was definitely like thinking about yesterday afternoon. I kept thinking about like, what am I going to break my fast with? And I was thinking about, I have those chicken thighs and I have the sweet potatoes and I have broccoli. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. But yeah, right now it just feels like kind of a normal morning hunger, which is kind of cool that I'm not like starving or anything like that. So I'm going to walk the dog, and then I'm going to do about a 3-mile run, really slow pace. I'm definitely in fat burning mode. Fat burning ketone bodies are flowing right now. I'm sure. I'm not testing ketones. I've never tested ketones. But I'm definitely in ketosis at this point. So I'm also well into autophagy at this point at 36 hours. So it's kind of like the natural like cleanup. It's like the actual word is something like the cell eating itself, or cells eating each other or something like that. But it's basically just like a natural process for kind of cleaning up the quality of the cells that you have in your body. So that is happening right now. This guy. You ready for a walk? So it's like 7:10 and it's already 80 degrees, and apparently there was like a thunderstorm last night. I don't know if it rained here. I didn't hear it, and didn't wake me up. I must have just slept really hard last night. I was seeing on Facebook some people talking about really loud thunder and everything. I completely missed it, but it is definitely way more humid than normal. I just checked, it's 57% humidity and 80 degrees at 7 a.m. It's normally, just for reference, it's normally like 20-25% humidity probably here in Northern California. I'm in the valley too, so I'm away from the ocean. But yeah, definitely feeling it, and glad I'm starting this run. Or I mean, ideally I would have started I voted on my Ideally, I would have started my run even earlier, but had other stuff to do this morning. So I decided to go 4. So I just turned around. I'm at 2.15 right now. I'm walking up a hill at the moment. My legs feel fine. Breathing a little hard. It is super hot. It's just West Coast people are not used to humidity. I was in college, like in my mid-20s, when I took a geography class, that I learned that it's not normal, or that the rainy season, that typically the rainy season isn't in the winter, because in California, the rainy season's in the winter. Every now and then we'll get like a little summer storm. So it's like really not typical to be in the middle of a heat wave and then have a thunderstorm come through. So yeah, definitely not used to this kind of humidity. The last time I ran in this kind of humidity was actually a marathon. Last October, the Marine Corps Marathon. Actually, I was wearing this hat and this shirt. It rained. It was like torrential rain, points where areas were flooded, like water up to my knees, just below my knees. And then it stopped raining, like right as I came up on the course, came up from the river by the like downtown DC. The mall area, I can't think words, I don't know, but anyway, it stopped raining right around then, and then it was just super hot and humid because everything was wet and we were soaking wet, and it was I don't know, 75, 80 degrees, which is really hot if you're running in it, particularly running 26.2 miles. So that was the last time that I've run in humidity like this, although obviously not nearly as long, but I can definitely feel it just kind of in my breathing. But my legs feel absolutely fine, and I'm used to running fasted. I typically run fasted, not necessarily as like a strategy, just because I'm not hungry in the morning, and I typically run in the morning because it gets hot. But at this point, I don't really feel like being fasted is affecting my run so much right now. If I was trying to sprint, if I was trying to do something that you call glycolytic, where I would really need some quick glucose in order to fuel the effort, I'm sure it would affect it. But this is an activity that I'm very well adapted to, and I typically do it in a fasted state. I'm used to burning fat for fuel. So other than being a little out of breath, which I think is more to do with the heat than my fasted state, it feels like any other run. I decided to go ahead and do 4 miles because the last half mile in particular, I typically walk most of anyway, because it's up a pretty steep hill in my neighborhood. So this way I'll get at least 3 solid miles running. So speaking of which, I'm gonna shut up and get back to running. Saying hi to the neighbors. No peacocks with them today. Sometimes a peacock hangs out with the wild turkeys. All right, that's 4 miles. It was like 51 minutes or so walking, mostly running. Definitely walked most of the way up the last like 3/4 of a mile, which is mostly uphill. Way hot. It's really hot. I just checked, it's 83 degrees now. Very, very sweaty. My legs basically feel fine. It's just my lungs, my breathing's really heavy, which it's just the heat will do that. So I'm sure that being in a fasted state is probably also adding to that. But I definitely wouldn't recommend any high intensity working out, being fasted for this long. But also I'm used to working out in a fasted state, so this isn't extremely out of the norm, and I was running at a comfortable pace. Yeah, I'm not feeling hungry at all right now. The water is doing just fine for me. I am gonna make sure that I get some electrolytes in, because I've been sweating a ton over the last 3 days with the heat and with all the work I've been doing with moving, cleaning out the garage, and then helping my parents move yesterday. It's just been like working out in a sauna basically. So and I'm like drenched right now, so definitely gonna make sure that I get some electrolytes in. I have a bottle of electrolyte water, so I'll drink that, and then I'll probably also put some Himalayan sea salt into my water later on as well. And yeah, see if I can make it to dinner or later. We'll see. I'm gonna stretch out a little bit and cool down a little bit before I go into the house. And then basically get to work for the day. All right, so just thought I would check in. So it's about 11:40 This is typically around the time of day that I would maybe have my first real meal. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm feeling quite fine. If I think about it, yeah, I'm kind of hungry, but it's not anything major right now. So one thing that at this point into fasting, I'm well into ketosis, and being in ketosis, a lot of people actually do it for the mental, they'll do the keto diet or fast on purpose when they have something that's going to be really cognitively demanding, because it does kind of increase your cognitive ability. It helps you to think really clearly. And it's like a cleaner burning fuel, basically, as opposed to glucose. So I'm kind of going to put that to the test really for the first time, as I have a bunch of work to do related to building, writing the next, working on an online course that I have, and then also working on a 30-day challenge that I just launched this morning. So I'm working on a lot of like program content stuff right now. So definitely a lot of cognitive work. And, you know, I'm at like going on 41 hours or so. I don't think it'll be any problem to make it to 48 tonight. So we'll see if am I gonna break my fast tonight, or will I make it tomorrow morning? We shall see. I've got my electrolyte water right here. And so, yeah, I'm feeling really good right now. So here we are, is 7:26 on Monday night. I would have eaten right at 7, but the food wasn't ready yet. It's super hot here, so I didn't want to use the oven. So I cooked my sweet potato and my chicken separately in the Instant Pot, so it took longer than normal. My dog is really interested in this, so I am ready to dig in. So I have 1 sweet potato, 1 chicken thigh, and 1 whole head of broccoli with about a tablespoon in total of butter. And I've really been craving this sweet potato, so I'm gonna dig into that first. It's so good. So I was definitely really getting hungry this afternoon. All right, let's go for the chicken. A nice long fast really gives you the appreciation for food. It's like it tastes better. Good stuff. So one thing coming off of a fast, breaking a long fast, you want to be careful of is that you don't just stuff yourself. You don't want to eat a bunch of crappy food. You want to eat a nice, balanced meal of nutritious food, which is what I have here. So hopefully I will, feel better than I was in the coming days. I was just curious. About an hour ago, I went and weighed myself, and I was down another pound just from this morning. I think it was 124.4. Which I think it's just more water weight. I mean, I did that run this morning. I sweat a ton. So it'll be interesting, like tomorrow and the next few days, when I'm eating kind of my normal food, and my glycogen stores start to fill back up, and that glycogen holds onto water as well as the sodium does. So it'll be interesting to see where my weight kind of levels out. So I did want to just give a little bit of an update of what happened a few days later. So the fast went really well. It really helped to kind of reset my digestive system, which was the purpose of that. And as I suspected in the video, the weight that I lost during that fast was water weight. So within 3 or 4 days, once I resumed my normal eating, and I'm eating roughly 125 or so grams of carbohydrates per day, and then just sodium and regular activities going on, I leveled back out around 127, which is kind of like my median weight at this point. So fasting is a really great tool to use. I do not recommend fasting for weight loss. Unless you are extremely overweight and you are under the supervision of a doctor, fasting is just not a good strategy for weight loss. You will lose water weight. You will also, especially if you're not adapted to burning fat like I am, especially if you're not already fat adapted like I am and used to burning body fat for fuel because of a low carbohydrate intake, you're gonna have way less energy than you would if you were eating a normal amount of carbohydrates for yourself. And so you're gonna be moving less. So a lot of the benefit that you would get from not having those calories is gonna kind of be washed out by the lack of activity, or at least the level of intensity that you would normally be able to do in your workouts. So fasting is a really nice tool to kind of reset your hunger cues, to reset your digestive system. For most people, you don't need to do more than a 24-hour fast. And I would highly recommend that you consult your doctor if you want to do a fast for any longer than 24 hours. For me, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. My stomach is feeling much better. I did go back to the whey protein. Slammed me right back into some GI issues. So I'm off the whey protein. I'll be ordering some vegan protein soon and giving that a shot. I've also tested out using sourdough again, and that doesn't seem to be a problem. So I'm not overly eating the bread. I eat 1 or 2 pieces every couple days, so it's not a lot of bread at all. So that low level of gluten in the fermented sourdough seems to be working for me. If you like this video and you made it to the end, please give me the thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, what is the longest you've ever gone between meals? I'd love to know that. And if you're not subscribed already and you want to, please hit that subscribe button. Remember, reform your lifestyle, reform your health.